We must defeat tomorrow. You are listening to Lifer House Podcast.
Episode. I hope you guys' day is going A1. Remember, whatever you're going through today, just get through it. You never know what God may throw your way, so just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. You woke up for a reason, and we here. So today, we have another special guest, Malikah Mobley. She's the owner of Pop Of Luxe luxury boutique. So I want to give you guys this podcast. Like I said, I'm trying to give you guys a good array of different brands and businesses, whatnot. So we're gonna get right into it. So let people know your name, where you from, and pretty much you can go into the story of how you got started. So just give a backstory of when you grew up, how family was, and just to get to the path of where you're at now.
Okay. My name is Malikah. My brand is Pop Of Luxe Luxury Boutique. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. See Pope.
Hey.
I grew up with, well, my parents weren't together, but my father and my mother were around both. Again, my parents weren't together, but, we always were together. We did things together.
Still a good family.
So, most of my grandparents were still alive. Village. I had a village of
right,
people.
Right, to say it take a village to raise a child.
Yeah, so my aunt, all of us. So when I think about my childhood and I think about what I'm doing now, my grandfather who passed when I can't remember what exact age I was, but he left us money afterwards to,
call it good.
And I was a great grand actually. And so he left money even for me.
To your grandfather who passed, he was a great grand to him? Dang.
I was a great grand. So he had his own company. He had his own business. He had a stucco business. And so, he was able to leave money, not just for me, but for my next sister. I have three sisters. I have 3 sisters and 3 brothers.
Big family.
And so for my two of my sisters, he was able to leave money for my middle sister as well. So that kind of stuck with me over. Yes, right. So that kind of stuck with me all throughout high school, all of those things. Now, granted, no, I don't really remember anybody else owning businesses in my family. So it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. So of course you graduate from high school, you go to college. So went to college or whatever. And still, like I said, owning a business still wasn't in my head. That wasn't something that I planned to do. Wasn't something.
Sorry to interrupt, but was that the route your parents kind of pushed you towards? It was just the main, you go to school, you graduate and go straight to college, or did they give you an ultimatum of, hey, once you graduate, you pretty much decide what you want to do? Or was it the same little thing of once you graduate, you going to college?
Yeah, it was. Okay, it was that path.
Yeah, okay.
That path that you read about all the time, and those, if you read business books or those millionaire books, they say, they talk about the triangle. You go to high school, graduate high school, you go to college, and then you get a good job, and you work for somebody, you get a good job, right? So, not to say that my parents never said that I couldn't own a business, but that just wasn't something that was talked about a lot.
I understand,
Like I said, went to college. I went to Albany State, Golden Rams, of course. Once I graduated, and actually, because I went to school for teaching, so once I graduated, and of course, I've always been the person people would ask me where I got things from, or got pieces from, or say, hey, I like that, or
fashion
something like
plug.
that. And I never really I never really saw myself as a fashion anything. It was just stuff that I liked. I thought it was cute and I wore it. But as I really started thinking about so-and-so reached out for me to help her with this, or people would reach out, hey, I have this to wear. Can you help me find something with it? My friends, sometimes my family, do you have something I could wear with this? Or what do you think I should wear with this? So when I started realizing that my friends would be like, oh yeah, you my fashion stylist or something, I'd be like, what? So that's when I really started thinking about wow, I could really have my own pieces. Have my own pieces that people like, that people want to wear. So still was just kind of like an idea. It was just okay, whatever. I'm teaching right now, so let me focus on that. And I moved to Atlanta in 2016.
What was you before that?
I was in Albany. I taught in Albany.
Coming from Albany to okay, I got you.
So I stayed in Albany a year after I graduated. I taught there for a year, and then I moved here in 2016.
Okay.
And so that's when it kind of was like, okay, the idea came back up.
Once you hit Atlanta, it's just so much inspiration and everybody doing this and doing that. It's kind of hard to not want to just jump in. So I can see how that kind of inspires you to go ahead and get it going, man.
And then now, Black women that's just what we do.
Going hard. I can't even deny it. I see it every day. Y'all going hard
right.
with it.
So, like you say, you come to Atlanta, you just get inspired. So the idea came back up, and I was like, okay, I'm still teaching, you know. I was still like, no. And then, you don't really know where to start, too.
Man.
So it's just like, okay, it's just too much trying to focus on where to even start. So it was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Still forgot about it. I was just like not really focusing on trying to own a business or even opening up a business. So got here in 2016, and I have a cousin that lives here, and he started his business, I think in 2017. He mounts TVs, does the lighting and stuff like that.
Installations?
Yes, installations.
Okay, I got you.
And so, he had a party to, I guess celebrate his new beginning. Okay. So, I was just talking to him like, hey, how did you get started? And
mind
you,
the conversation
I wasn't even asking for my business. I was just,
curious.
So, and I just asked him what made you want to start? He was like, this is just something that I learned how to do. And he was like, it was easy. He was like, it was easy. All I had to do was really go down, do the paperwork, and then boom, I had a business. And how easy he made it sound, I was like, I could do that.
Yeah, it's a lot of people think when you want to start a business that it just takes so much, but it really doesn't. All it takes is your vision and execution, and of course the paperwork and all that black and white stuff. That's the boring part, and people get scared of that part because when I was growing up, like I said, just like you, nobody in my family kind of owned their own business. So when I started, it was just like you say, where do you start? But nowadays, in our generation, we got all this technology and YouTube and even the social media. There's so many resources that you can jump to figure out how to start things. But that's pretty much how it happened for me too.
Yep. Yeah. And then not even just learning things from the internet. It's so many people that God places in your life that you don't know that have information that you can use. Right there, me and my cousin, we didn't talk on a regular basis, but he invited me to his celebration, and so whatever, we start talking, and boom, right there, it was just kind of like, I could do that. Yeah. And I went through the process of the paperwork, and that was kind of weird because it's not hard, but it's different avenues, different things that you have to make sure is in place, tax ID, and then you're not actually a business until you really register your business. So I went through kind of a period of time with that was kind of wait a minute, I thought I did everything, but it was
most
nope,
people
you gotta
think
do
once
this.
I get an LLC, I'm good. But
exactly.
Nope, need that LLC, need that business license, need that tax ID, you got to register for the state of Georgia, E-Corps, all that. It's a process.
So that definitely was a process for me as well. But once I got through that process, and then, because honestly, truly, the vendor thing, because, I buy from a wholesale and then, style it how I wanted it styled or whatever like that. And then, but I had bought the vendor list, I think the beginning of 2017, and I just sat on it.
I know about I don't know if it's they have the same vendor list, but I still haven't purchased one because as far as making T-shirts, I didn't need a list to figure out who the wholesale person was because as far as Alpha Bro, they're public with it, so it was just boom, boom, boom. But I'm still interested in seeing that list. So, but go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
But yeah, so I sat on it. Because, like you said, on social media, people have all these different things. And this was, before vendor lists were just selling. You know what I'm saying? People weren't just selling vendor lists for you know what I'm saying? It was you taking, you see somebody and you're like, okay, I might try to, I'm going to see what it's about. But now you can get vendor lists from anywhere. People on social media, 1 million people selling vendor lists.
I see it all the time. People even selling classes just to get to that vendors list.
Yep. And honestly, you could find the vendors online yourself. Just a little nugget. But yeah, bought the vendor list from another young lady, and I sat on it. I didn't do anything with it. And in 2018 is when I might be getting the times or the dates, actual dates, but in 2018 is when I went down and got did the paperwork and all of that stuff. And in last year is when I was like, okay, this is the year that I'm actually gonna do something with my business license.
Taking that leap.
I got this business license. I haven't really done anything with it. Okay, now let's see what I want to do now. And from there, 2018. No, last year, 2019.
Right, because you just started.
Yeah, 2029. Look, I'm like, what? All these dates.
Yeah.
But 2019, it was either June or July. I bought some inventory, and I first started off as Luxe accessories, which I was just selling like brooches, earrings. I had some rings and stuff like that, but mostly the brooches, because I noticed that it wasn't something that people really wore. But when I wore it, people would ask me, hey, where did you get that from?
That's always a sign right there. People start asking, I let you know.
I can go research and find out where to find these things at. So so started off with the brooches, and at first I had bought some inventory, but I was like, I'm waiting on a website. I'm waiting on, packaging. I'm waiting on all that because you want stuff to be excellent. You want people to see your stuff and be like, oh yeah, I know that's gonna be, what I like to wear, or I know it's gonna be packaged correctly. They feel comfortable with your brand because they know what caliber
a big part
your
of brand
is.
Identity. Yeah, I understand why you was going there with it.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna wait. And then I was driving in my car home from work one day, and I was just like, I'm gonna just take some pictures and post it and
Simple
see how it goes. And sure enough, people reached out in my DMs. Hey, how do I order this? And I really appreciate people because you don't really know how people are going to respond to things. You don't know who's going to respond either. And they when you think about business, people say find a target audience. But honestly, you can target certain people, but you may not. Those people may not respond.
Right. Sometimes the audience finds you. Just put your stuff out there. They're people who really gonna support it and like what you're doing. They're gonna gravitate towards you, and boom, then let me try to reel them in and reel them in. Yeah.
Right. And then, people responded. And so then I was like, okay, it was getting a little hectic trying to get orders through DMs. So I was like, okay, I need a website.
Yeah,
I for real need a website. So, I went through the process of, okay, should I do Wix website? Should I get somebody to do my website for me? Am I able to even figure out my website myself? So, I decided on Shopify, got some feedback from some people, some graphic designers on people I knew who wouldn't mind, giving me some insight about what type of website to use or what platform to use for my website. So got the Shopify website, and then I launched my website on Labor Day of last year. September 2nd, I believe.
Yeah, I want to say Labor Day is what day?
I think. Don't quote me, guys. But so Labor Day of 2019 is when I actually launched my website. And honestly, I'm still learning. And it's just different little things that you want to make sure is right.
Yeah. That
people think the big stuff, like the website, that was kind of sort of easy.
Yeah.
But just the small stuff like the packaging, then you have to think about like the marketing of it.
Yeah, it's a lot that goes into building your brand. Like like you say, people think the website is the biggest thing, but that's like one of the smallest things because you need stuff to put on that website.
Exactly.
And when it comes to brand identity, like people really take heed of that. When you put your brand out, is this something, does it feel good? Does it look good? Am I going to feel good wearing this? Is this going to make me feel a certain type of way to actually represent this person's brand or whatnot? So I fully understand where you're coming from with that one.
So, and the things that, like, before you get into entrepreneurship, that was not something that I just knew was for me. I was okay with going to a job and working on a job and progressing in that job. You know what I'm saying? I was okay with that. And when I got this vision and that I believe that came from God, but it's been there, but
that's where it came from.
What I'm saying? Yeah, I believe because, some people try to put their own visions. And although I do feel like this is something that, one of my talents, fashion, I have an eye for things that match or things that go well together. I also believe that this was a vision from God, that he gave me this gift.
Do you feel like that came natural to you? Like it was just...
I do, honestly, because, my parents always dressed me well. that's just what it was. I got good grades. I got what I wanted, which was
Yeah.
usually
That's how it
clothes or
work.
something like that. And I think it also comes from just your family and how they, because you can learn how to dress. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
if it was something that I saw my parents dress well, my family dressed well.
Subconsciously, you pick up on that
Yeah,
stuff.
you
and
pick
it,
up
and
on
goes
it.
with you.
Of
Yeah.
course, you get your own kind of.
Put your own sauce on it.
Yeah, that's the word. You put your own sauce on it, but I just always was we dress well. Once I got, like I said, entrepreneurship was not something that I just was just like, that's what I'm gonna do. But like I said, once I got into it, and you start thinking about, why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? And when I think about it, it always brings me back to not only wanting to give back, being able to give, give back to my family, give back to the community, give to my church and everything, but like my grandfather's legacy. Every time I think about, like, why am I really doing this? Because there are days, I want to be like, guess what?
Hey.
I'm going to be a teacher and I'm just going to move up in teaching. That's what
Yeah.
I'm going to do. Like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
Because, you think that it's going to be like, and of course, we're millennials.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I know that it takes time. But in my head, I'm like, why is this? Why?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
what's
one
going
of the
on?
hardest thing to process. Is like sometimes we want that instant gratification and
Yes.
want things now, but it's really a process to build this stuff. Because if you want entrepreneurship, like it's lonely, and when you're doing this by yourself, you got to gain these people's support, and then you got to see what's real and what's not as far as support. Because sometimes people will support you once and they never come back, so
Yep.
then it makes it even harder and harder to, man, I thought I had these customers here, or I had this and that, and then they just disperse. So that's a good point.
Yes. And when I think about that, when I think about me saying, okay, I'm over this, I just not only like think about that, but it's so many people that do support, and you feel like, dang, I'm letting this person down. And then you think like, this talent that I was given, or this gift, or whatever you want to call it, you're letting God down, because He wants you to use your gift, not only just for that thing, because I promise you, this is not my only thing. There's greater than
It's a
just
bigger
me owning
purpose.
this boutique. There's a lot of other ideas that I have just for, being that I'm a teacher. I love children. I love working around children. So I know it's greater than just this
This
clothes
is just
for
the
people.
beginning for you.
Exactly. And so I think about my grandfather's legacy, the legacy he left behind. He was able to create generational wealth. And I want
that's
to be
what I
able
meant
to
to say
say,
earlier when you said, that's what I meant to say. Like, that was great that he actually he did it. Like,
Yes.
when you said you was a great grand, I was like,
yes.
that's what you call creating generational wealth. That's the way God intended for it to be. And the fact that he did that, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, when we talk about generational wealth, it's like I have somebody that created that for me. And for me to, for one thing, not just let's say, oh, God gave me this gift and I'm just going to not, let it, give it out to the world.
Yeah.
I would be letting my grandfather's legacy just go to waste.
Right.
And that's what keeps me going. And then just knowing that there's a greater purpose. Like it's not just this. This is just the beginning. There's a greater purpose for what I'm doing. And so every them
So
days
would you
I
say,
want to
like,
be
so
like,
your granddad pretty much is your why? Like, that's your main motivation to push you every day when you feel like you don't want to keep going, you want to quit. That's your main
Yes.
go to let me get off my ass and get this thing going.
yes, because people say, oh, I didn't really have anybody to show me this and this and that, but I don't have that excuse. There was somebody in my family that created generational wealth, all the way down to a second great grand.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Not crazy, but that's amazing.
That's yeah. And granted, like we were able to come into our maturity when we turned 18. And granted, when I turned 18, I didn't know what to do with a certain amount of money, So I did do some things with it. I bought a car and stuff like that. But I wish what I know now and what I wanted to do now, I wish I knew when I was 18, when I had that chance. Right.
You live and you learn.
And so now I'm back to a point where it's like, okay, well, I messed up, but I got grace.
But I wouldn't even say you messed up.
No,
You
no.
just you learning from it.
Okay.
So it was a lesson.
Okay, yeah.
It was a lesson. Yeah.
So I got grace to
Yeah.
now have the chance to be able to try it again and now create the wealth for my family and then just show other people, how to get through just, owning your own business or wanting to own your own business. And like I said, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not orders not coming in, jumping on my head, 200 orders a day, not yet. But I know that it's going to get there. And I just have to continue to say, it's going to get there. It's going to get there.
So during your journey to starting your business, what were some of the things you went through that like obstacles you went through that wanted to make you quit or had you mentally stressed, and how did you get through those things? For just for somebody who may be listening, they might be trying to start their business and something a wall got into front of their way and they just gave up and quit and just like, forget it, I'm done. So talk about some of those things you went through and how did you get through them? How did it affect you mentally?
Well, of course, financially, because you have to, buy stuff and then people order it, but if people aren't ordering, then you kind of feel like, okay, I wasted my money, I'm losing money. So that will take a toll on you. Like, am I really supposed to be doing this? Like, but and mentally that takes a toll on you because you feel like, okay, this is just not, it's not doing what I wanted to do. And like I said, as millennials, we think stuff's supposed to happen like this. So it does take a toll, and it makes you feel like, okay, am I really supposed to be doing this? Am I capable of doing this? Can I really run a business? Like I said, I didn't never ever think that I could run a business.
Did you deal with a lot of self-doubt in the beginning?
Yes. Okay. I was just about to get to that. So, even now, like, and and because it's still the beginning for me, honestly, truly. And so even now, it gets to a point where I'm just like, am I really capable of being in charge of something where I'm going to have to, run a team eventually and all of that kind of stuff? Do I really have the resources? Do I really have the knowledge to do that? And my word this year is discipline. Trying to stay disciplined and consistent with the things that I know that I need to do. Reading so that I know what I need to do next, or reading what other business owners have done, researching, paying attention to what they have done, because you will, if you not saying looking at other people, but you will have self-doubt, like, well, this person got this going on, and boom, they made it.
That'll
or
make somebody
this person did this, and boom.
It's just seeing somebody else's progress will give you a premature vision, because it's just like, you only see what people show you, and you don't know what they're going through behind closed doors. So just don't let what you're seeing make you feel, oh, I can't do this because they're at this level. But little do you know, they could be struggling worse than you, and you way better off than them. So I can understand how that can create a sense of doubt in what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, like, I just had to, just like honestly continue to believe and trust God that this was something that He put inside of me to, make this world better in some type of way. Although it's starting off with a boutique and clothing, people may not think, how's that making it better? It is. In some type of way, you're making somebody feel good when they put those clothes on, and then it goes to a whole nother level. So honestly, this is a beginning place, and I have to believe that too, that this is the beginning, and that if I continue to do and be faithful, at church and do the things that I need to do and continue to exude the things of God and characteristics of God, then, I'll see fruit eventually. Because, and like I said, in another interview that I had, that I've never read a success story that didn't have process, and it didn't take failures, and it didn't take, things happening for people to really say, I want to triumph over this, or this is a challenge, but I made it through. You never hear a success story where they just was like, somebody gave me the money, boom, boom, boom,
and
boom, boom, boom.
Nope. They went through. People go through so much to even get to the first point of success in their life, and you can go through a lot. And one thing you had said that I like you said, when you say you had like reading books and stuff, people don't know that there's a lot of jewels inside of books if you was to really pick one up and read it. Because how I feel about it, we look at all these famous people who's successful, and we say, oh, we want to get in touch with them, or we want to see what they got to say. But how I feel, they're so famous, they can't talk to everybody, but the way they do it, they'll put it inside of a book to reach the masses. So if you want some good information, it's really inside of a book, because that's how they communicate to the masses. They can't go to every interview, or they can't call you, or you can't get an interview with them. So if somebody you look up to write a book, I encourage you to get it and actually read it, because whatever questions you may want to ask them, I bet the answers is in that book. Yeah, it's in there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's something I definitely need to do more of. But staying disciplined and consistent and learning new things, because there's always something new that can make your business better out there. So for people that's listening, if there is something that you believe deep down, you know that it's something that you need to spread to the world, that it's the beginning for you, I say go for it. Because so many times we, like you said, we get discouraged and we get self-doubt because we don't even believe ourselves. And not to say that we're not to say that I was like a self-conscious person or I had low self-esteem or anything like that. And it has nothing to do with that. Because some people, because some people be like, oh, yeah, well, that's just, no. That's just something that comes, anybody starting a business. You just get these things come up.
Those are the emotions. Everybody who wants to be an entrepreneur or start your own business, you're going to have to go through that no matter what it is. Yes. Like the financial things, you're going to go broke some days you're not. The support, you're going to get support some days you're not. So all what you're saying, there's no getting around it. You just have to get through it, man. Yes. There's no other way around it.
And you just have to believe that there's the greater end. You got to see the bigger picture in the beginning. Kind of like working backwards. You got to see the bigger picture. And you got to believe that it's already there. You got to talk like it's there. Yep. You got to walk like it's there. Yep. You have to
tell them, y'all better be listening.
You have to make sure that, hey, it's already done. What I said I was going to do, I'm already doing it. And then God's going to blow your mind. Even what you think you're supposed to be doing or that you're going to be doing, you think is the greatest thing. And my pastor said this, whatever you think is the greatest thing, you don't even know that that's not even the end for you. That's just
getting started.
That's just a little bit. What you think is the greatest thing is just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited for 2020 and the years to come, and just ready to see what it brings.
So what do you, not trying to give anything away, but what do you kind of have planned for yourself and your brand coming into year 2020? Like what is your focus of where you want to be maybe by the second quarter of the year, the third quarter of the year?
Definitely want to focus on marketing. Because, like in marketing, as far as like packaging, just everything within your marketing, branding, like really branding Pop of Luxe this year. So that when people open up their stuff, they are excited about, oh, wow, blah, blah, I got this, but she put this in here, or wow, I got a flyer that says this. So people will come back. Exactly. Another thing is I recently did a pop-up shop. And so
I've seen. Congratulations on that one.
Thank you. And that was something that was just like, okay. I literally planned that pop-up shop in like 2 weeks. And it just was like, do a pop-up shop.
Do you work best with your back against the wall?
I do, honestly, truly. I do. Even in school.
Same here.
I wrote my paper, which is not good. It's not good. I'm not saying that it's good. Procrastination is not good, y'all. But I literally do.
Yeah.
A paper that, even when I was in college, a paper that I would write in advance, take it to the people, and you know at Albany State that you could take it to the people to look over and all of that. When I did that, I didn't get as high as a grade as I did the paper the
when
night
you trying
before.
to cram it in.
Literally
I don't know
an
why.
A
I'm the
versus
same
like a B.
way.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It used to be so crazy.
I don't know. I guess it's just when you feel like time is running out, you have no options. It's just but you want to succeed. You just really give it all you have, rather than okay, I got a week, I got 2 weeks. You can get a little complacent and lazy, and then, but when your back is against the wall, it's like, hey,
beast mode.
I gotta get this done.
I gotta get it together.
You do your best work. I agree. So how do you say you are now as a mental state as far as dealing with business, personal life, and schooling? Like, does it make it hard for you to try to run your business as far as everything else compiling into one?
Mentally, I think that whole piece where you're kind of like, I think that's going to be there forever. I think that's always going to be there as an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, I hope to get to a place where I'm just like Diddy, like, I'm going to do this.
Nah, you gonna get there.
Now I am there where I feel like I